Alright, so you are using Illustrator or Graphic Designer. You're going to create a new document and it needs to be US letter, but you're going to choose portrait or landscape. For my word, I'm using wave. I believe that landscape will be the better composition. You're going to use the text tool, and over here on the right hand side you have all your options, all your fonts in here. So you can scroll through and find the font that you want to use. Totally up to you. Each font is different based off of depending on the word that you want to create. So I'm just going to stick with what the program already has me set to use. So if I click, I'm going to create each individual letter. So I have to click off of the letter and then go back to the letter T. Okay, so each letter should be on a different layer. As you can see on my layers panel, I am creating 4 layers, one for each word. Now, in order to enlarge your letter, okay, for this I'm going to have to zoom in. Which you can, again, zoom in for Control plus and then zoom out for Control minus. It's not going to work if I just pull from the corner. So what I need to do is I need to right click on my letter. I'm going to convert to path. And now, while I'm on my black selection tool, that black arrow, I can now click and drag from the corners of my letter. Alright, so now this one gave me all these different anchor points, and that's because I'm not on my selection tool. Okay, I'm on that white arrowhead. So in order to make that work, okay, see, alright, I'm going to convert to path. Come on. Right click. Keeps changing on me. Right click, convert to path, make sure you're on the black arrow in order for it to work, right, and then click and drag. So you're going to do that for the rest of your letters. Your letters do not have to stay proportionate. For this assignment, pretty much you are stretching, you're moving them. They're going to go in different locations that they don't normally do because your goal for this assignment is to illustrate what the word is saying. So for mine, there's 2 definitions to it. You could think of wave, like as if you're like waving to someone, or you could think of the actual object. So I'm going to use it as it's the actual object. So I'm going to try to make this word look like it's creating a wave like in the ocean. Remember, when doing this, there is more than one answer to this. Sometimes your first design might not be the best design. So I do recommend creating a couple of them and choosing your best one. At the end of this video, you are going to see 3 different designs that I came up with for this word. And I believe the last one is my favorite one, or I think the best one. So in here, I'm just kind of playing around with the placement of the letters. You can use that little circle up at the top to rotate your letters. All of this I'm using on the selection tool. You can try to play around with the anchor points on your white arrow tool, but I actually don't recommend it. I would say play around with the fonts. Now, since I converted all of these to a path, I would not be able to change the font at this time. I would have to change the font before I convert it into a path. So this is what's going to happen if I play with my anchor points. So I'm selecting multiple anchor points because I'm like, maybe I can like shrink part of it. But when I click and drag it downwards, look at what happens. Creates this weird shape, and that's just because of the curvatures that are created. So instead of trying to mess around with that, that's getting a little too complicated. I'm not going to mess with the anchor points. I'm just going to stretch, overlap, maybe rotate, whatever I feel like I need to do in order to create my illustration. Other recommendations for this is please make sure that you are using your space wisely. Some of you are using this program and then I'm unfortunately not able to see your assignment. I'm not sure how you are saving your document, but for those who that have received an email from me saying I can't see your assignment, please just take a screenshot of your project and send it to me, all right? Because they should be either saved as an SVG or a PDF, and even if you saved it that way and I still cannot see it, please take a screenshot because I'm unaware of how you're actually saving the project. right? So as you can see, I'm kind of like maneuvering my letters around. I'm going to kind of make them into a wave shape. You can use your word as many times as you need to, as well as in order to illustrate it, but you can only use the letters of that word in order to illustrate it. Right? I know this program is not as user-friendly as what we're used to with Illustrator, but I believe that you guys are doing a wonderful job learning this program in a short amount of time. Remember, if you're trying to select more than one thing, you can just highlight it all. So here's the example of how I changed my wave designs. And this is my most favorite because it looks more fluid and more like wave-like.